You are listening to Minor Metrics Complete. I'm your host, Chris Mellon. This show was powered by a script written by Lock Fox and Eve Prosper. This content is aimed at players participating in the mining profession and is provided nightly to give you, dear listener, the information you need to sell your product at the right price. If you're tired of hearing me say the same thing every episode, check out my other show on this channel. The show is called Flagged, and I go over only the major changes in the mineral and ice markets. Starting with TRITANIUM, on the early graph we can see the capital mining crash and nerf recovery. Zooming in, the price has come out of its stall out and is reaching up to 4.8. I think we've moved past any crash that might have happened and have continued on to a higher price. It's a good move to sell TRITANIUM now, although our price could rise higher. PYERITE is showing the capital mining crash and we are returning to a stall. Zooming in, we can see our price has stalled out at 5.7. In the long run, I think this price has further to rise, and I would wait for a higher price. Moving on to MEGACYTE, we can see the amazing summit that we're on. Zooming in, however, we can see the crash I've been warning about is here in earnest. I'd sell now and cut your losses. With ISOGEN, we're seeing the exact same graph as PYERITE, and it's for all the same reasons. Zooming in, we can see our price has pulled out of decline. We've stalled out at 52.5. Selling ISOGEN isn't a terrible idea, but only if you need to liquidate. Holding out for a better price will probably be a better move in the long run. Moving through to NOCXIUM, we see a similar pattern to TRITANIUM earlier, but with a price hike up to a much better relative price point. Zooming in, we can see the price has nosedived. We're just now below 370. This is still the peak price range for this market though, and I believe selling before another drop is a wise choice. Zydrane's yearly graph has had large movements in the early year, followed by a recent plummet in price. Zooming in, we can see the rapid decline we've experienced and the bounce back from that movement. Our price seems to be stalled around 1,000. I recommend waiting for a price hike. Next is MEGACYTE. Much like Zydrane, MEGACYTE has had large movements in the early year but is only just now experiencing its drop. If Zydrane is any indication, this price has further to fall. There's been momentary volatility over the last few days, pushing the price far above the moving average. This is a great chance to get out before the price drops further. For the last of our minerals, MORPHITE's yearly graph looks incredibly stable, but zooming in we can see we've been experiencing a long fall in price with a recent recovery. We're trading at 9,500, which is a mediocre price. I would recommend holding your MORPHITE and waiting for a better sell signal. Now we'll move on to ice products. First up we have heavy water, with a massive decline after the roll call nerf and a leveling off. Zooming in, we can see just how stable this period is. We're seeing a stall out around 300 for the moment. Personally, I'd recommend liquidating unless you're holding out for a new use for heavy water. Next is liquid ozone, looking incredibly stable, much like our MORPHITE graph. And zooming in, we can see just how sideways we really are. We're moving sideways at a 110 price point. If I were looking to sell, I'd probably wait for a momentary tick in volatility like we had a month and a half ago. If you don't want to wait, however, you're not giving up much with this kind of price history. STRONTIUM CLATHRATES are in a slow decline, and zooming in we can see that this decline has been off and on for a while now. This decline will continue for a while, but will bounce back if a war of some kind starts. If you need liquid IS quickly, selling with our current volatility is wise, but if you can hold on to stock, I'd wait to supply the next big engagement. Moving through to our isotopes, we have helium isotopes with a slow decline in price recently. Zooming in, we can see that our price has hit 640. If you have helium isotopes, I'd hold on to them and wait for the overcorrection from this unstable nature of the market. The hydrogen isotope price is much more level, but zooming in, we can see the price is at 625. This price has a lot to rise due to the rainbow fuel changes with citadels, and you should hold on to your hydrogen until the price does in fact rise. Nitrogen isotopes look like they're on the peak of a spike, and zooming in, we can see they're being traded at 825, a far overvalued price. I recommend selling your nitrogen isotopes now to supply this peak and protect yourself from the drop in progress. Oxygen isotopes look excellent as well, but the same volatility is hitting the market. Zooming in, we can see that oxygen isotopes are still being traded at 775, and this market is likely going to correct. I would cash out before we reach the 650 range. This has been Chris Mellon for Minor Metrics. That'll do it for the show. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to check tomorrow for another episode.